Blog Talk Radio.
Please take all the necessary precautions to protect your Constitution while listening to this broadcast. 3, 2, 1. Coming to you live via the internet. It's time for Rage Against the Regime. Let's get ready to rumble! Finally, a show for patriots, defending the Constitution and uncovering the truth at every turn, bringing you exclusive interviews and covering the topics the mainstream media doesn't dare to touch. Call in and join the discussion at 929-477-3565. That's 929-477-3565. And now, here are your hosts, Bobby Who's the Man and Becky Williams. Rage Against the Regime.
I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I am. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Rage Against the Regime Radio. I am your host, Bobby Who's the Man Ritter. Along with me, as always, my trusty sidekick, Becky Williams. Hello, Becky.
Hey, good afternoon, brother. I understand we have a very exciting guest today. He's a gentleman who's extremely busy, working in the area to free America and to educate. So, Bobby, if you would mind, go ahead and introduce our guest today.
Absolutely. Today we are very, very honored to have with us Major General Paul Vallely. Am I saying it right that time? Vallely. Okay, you just told me that. Vallely. Okay, I wanted to make sure I said it right. Everybody, Paul Vallely is joining us, and welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you very much.
We are honored to have you with us. Your record speaks for itself. We know that you have so many projects that you're involved with to try to educate people, Stand Up America, being on one of the Benghazi councils, just so many things that you have going on, to try to wake up the American public. The first question that I would like to have is, have you had any success in your eyes in waking up the American public?
Well, it's been a tough one. We formed Stand Up America in 2006 because we could see what was happening at the end of the Bush administration and what was leading up to the next election, presidential election after that, what was happening in the Middle East. And so Stand Up America has been around quite a while. The website on that is standupamericaus.org that all your listeners can go to. We post all the latest intelligence information on the Middle East and other information we get every morning. So it's a good reference to go to, just like Drudge Report. The purpose of Stand Up America really is to primarily focus on national security. And like I said on the Neil Cavuto show several times on Fox News, that national security, without it, nothing else matters. But if we can't secure our people, and if we can't secure the nation and the cities, nothing else makes any difference, because eventually the enemy will overcome us. And that's what happened in World War II. That's what happened in Ramadi, as ISIS overcame the people in Ramadi. America doesn't think it can happen, but it's happening through our borders now. It's happening to our embassies overseas, our assets that we have overseas. Even our bases are under attack, and more planned by ISIS on that. So, like I've said before, the economy is important, but unless we can secure the economy, it doesn't make any difference, because it will die off as well as the people, as we see the treacherous radical Islamists try to develop their caliphate around the world. So it's very important that we continue to emphasize that with the American people, and that's primarily what I do at Stand Up America, is trying to keep on top, do as many TV, radio interviews as I can, as well as articles for publication. So that's basically what we're at. We just kicked off the Legacy campaign, which is the Legacy National Security Advisory Group, and we've done that with the top military guys like Admiral Lyons, General Jerry Wake, and General Tom McInerney, and several CIA executive high people that were in the CIA that are now retired, and we're offering our services and consulting to all the presidential candidates. Because, as you know, almost none of them have served in the military. They're very shallow on the depth of national security, how to kill off ISIS, how to prevent threats from China and Russia. And you can't be vague on this anymore. And this is the first time a group like Legacy has ever been put together in America. But we had to do it because of the failure of Romney last time to defeat Obama, when he decided in the second debate not to go to Benghazi and national security and stayed on the economy, and of course he lost the election. So anyhow, that's sort of a quick update for you.
Okay, a question that I would have, whenever people come to, talk about anything that they fear the most, everybody always brings up ISIS. So many people go back to saying, ISIS was really reinvented after the Al-Qaeda was completely torn down, and a lot of people would say that, John McCain and John Kerry probably had a lot to do with that, going over there and helping, fund them and give them, any kind of, weaponry that they need besides money and so on and so forth. Do you think that there's any truth to that?
No, that's not a true statement. I'm the only one that's been inside Syria in the last 2 years, and John McCain went over after I did. John happened to meet with the wrong people. He met with the people that were basically being funded by Qatar and the Muslim Brotherhood. I actually met with the Free Syrian Army, the original Free Syrian Army, which broke off and defected from Assad. I met with 10 different Syrian generals inside Syria. I met with, and when I went in with 400 members and my team into Aleppo, of course at that time the most dangerous city in the world. So ISIS put a hit out on me last year, and I put a hit out on the ISIS guy. He happens to be a Chechen. So that's all been confused, but nobody ever talked about ISIS a couple of years ago. Nobody talked about it in Syria and Iraq. Al-Qaeda had come in, as Hezbollah did, and Hezbollah was trying to help Assad and the Syrian government, and the Al-Qaeda elements, which were much smaller. They were only about 6,000, evolved into about 10,000, whereas the Free Syrian Army had numbers up to 60 to 70,000. And the American government, nobody would support the Free Syrian Army. If we had supported the Free Syrian Army several years ago, ISIS would have never evolved. And that's what happened. ISIS evolved over there, and it evolved as a solid leadership organization that then was able to attract enough money to at least arms to attack Mosul and take that over and take over the oil field. So that's what it is. It's an evolution that's happened over there.
Okay, that makes sense. And then I guess the hot topic right now would be the whole Benghazi situation.
Right.
I know in my eyes, I thought when Trey Gowdy was appointed, the person to pretty much handle the whole Benghazi situation, being in Congress and everything, I see this, I saw him pretty much as the knight in shining armor, okay? Because the way that he was questioning and, so on and so forth to try to get the information that we needed and the truth about Benghazi, and then all of a sudden it seemed like Benghazi just completely fell apart and we didn't hear any more about it, and now I know it's a hot topic again. So can you give us a little bit of information about what would be the latest and greatest when it comes to Benghazi?
Well, I'll be happy to. I co-founded the Benghazi Citizens Commission with 12 of us. And we're the one that's kept Benghazi alive. We're the ones that pushed for Trey Gowdy to be the head of the select committee. John Boehner never wanted the select committee. Neither did Mitch McConnell. But we kept the pressure on him. We finally got Boehner to get Trey Gowdy. And so Trey Gowdy has a staff. He's been doing a lot of behind the scenes. He's not moving as rapidly as we would like him to, that's for sure. But the big catch here is Hillary Clinton. And, of course, we've got her in lies. We've got Secretary of Defense Panetta, General Dempsey in lies now that we have validated, and Trey Gowdy will bring that out. and the fact that we had assets available to go in and rescue them. We had a Marine group in the Mediterranean that we just found out from General Flynn, what they call a MEU. It's an amphibious Marine force that was available. We had F-16s available. And the White House basically put a quash to any kind of a rescue mission. And, of course, Hillary knew all about the arms transfer deals going on, and that's coming out now based on what Sid Blumenthal, what he knows about. He was her cover man. But Hillary has completely lied. Trey Gowdy knows this. The Citizens Commission, the Special Operations Speaks organization, we've asked that Hillary Clinton be impeached, because you can go back and impeach somebody legally, then they can never run for office again. And so that's what the Benghazi's commission is working on, along with Trey Gowdy at this point in time. Hillary Clinton's the big catch on this one, though.
Sir, can I interject? I've got a couple of things that I'd like to address. This is Becky. Couple of things. Impeachment is almost a laughable prosecution for the level of crime committed here. And let's face it, that's tyranny. Turning your back on an American citizen at an embassy and allowing them to be slaughtered in the manner that they were slaughtered is, in my opinion, a capital offense, and according to the color of law, it's a capital offense as a administrative. Yes, absolutely. Now, what we've seen is this. You said a couple of years ago, and you mentioned ISIS in reference to ISIS actually being an active body or organized group that has actually been in existence for a longer period of time than obviously the public has noted. Now, you have a couple of
but nobody ever talked about them. Nobody ever heard of ISIS. Having been in the Middle East 5 times, nobody ever talked about ISIS 2 years ago. They weren't even on that the discussion with the Syrians. I mean, this is what is interesting. So you bring up a good point.
Absolutely. Now, you had Obama, and I refuse to call him president because he's a usurper. You have Obama who made an address. He had an address that went international, and he was the first body or person who actually referenced ISIS as ISIL. Now, we've done some analysis of our own trying to understand what the L meant in ISIL. Why was it changed from ISIS to ISIL, and why was Obama the first one to address them as ISIL on broadcast that went around the world? Now, it is of our opinion, due to research, that the L actually means Levant, and it was to give the enemy initiative announcement to go ahead and move forward and take many regions. Very soon after that, we had not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 accidental drops by our own military, dropping munitions and weapons right into the hands of ISIS. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I will. Levant, when you describe it from the Islamist point of view, really is a geographical. The Levant goes from Turkey down to the Sinai. So it's that whole area in there that becomes the Levant, which is really part of the developing caliphate that they want to extend Sharia law and Islam throughout the world. That's the first phase. Of course, now that's moved into North Africa. Now, why they would start using ISIL rather than ISIS is beyond me, and I don't have the answer for you. But it's so ridiculous. I mean, ISIS is the force. It's the Islamic force, is what they describe, whereas the Levant is a geographical description more so. It's absolutely shows you how ridiculous Susan Rice is and Obama and Valerie Jarrett and that whole national security team. I mean, they're absolutely, as I did a show last night, and they played the old Twilight Zone number, which I thought was great. You guys ought to play that. They're all in the Twilight Zone.
I suggest that they may not be in the Twilight Zone. I suggest that was in-your-face relay of information and instruction to move forward in that area, and we're seeing that movement in fact, in that direction. And now you've got the president of Turkey, who is calling for all Islamic nations to invade Israel.
Yeah, he's a real Islamist, Erdogan. Fortunately, we got General al-Sisi in Egypt, and he's the strong one there. He's probably the best leader in the Middle East, and I've met with him twice. But the Egyptians are fighting, of course, their own battle to stabilize Egypt, trying to protect the Suez, fighting in the Sinai south of Gaza to protect Israel on the south, and they're also fighting ISIS forces that are to their west in Libya. So General al-Sisi's got a handful, but they know they have no respect for Obama. Obama supported the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. So now what you have is a regional group being put together, which is Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, King Abdullah in Jordan, and General al-Sisi in Egypt, because they have no respect for the United States anymore, or for Obama, our government. And so they're moving forward on their own. We know the target for ISIS right now is really Saudi Arabia, and to capture Medina and Mecca. And so if they can move south into Saudi Arabia and depose of the royal family, that is their intention right now. That's why they're going to go in and try to lay siege to Baghdad within the next 30 days. So
you know what is... go ahead, sir. I'm sorry. We have a delay.
Well, that was it. I mean, that's sort of what I see going on over there.
You know, that's really interesting, because what we saw Obama do is bow to the Saudi king. The Saudi king is now dead. But we saw him bow to the Saudi king and take a princess jewel around
his
ring. Yes, and he took a princess jewel around his neck. So we know for a fact that was most likely well done, my good and faithful servant gesture on the Saudi king's position where Obama is concerned. Now, I have a question. Two, actually. We have to question what has happened behind closed doors, that now there's such an ill relationship between Obama, who we know is he's part of the Muslim Brotherhood, in my opinion, based on research and action.
Yep, he is.
We have to question what went on behind closed doors after the death of the king that caused such discordance between Obama and Saudi Arabia. And the other thing I have to question is, why the hell is he still sitting as POTUS in this country when we know he is a usurper? When we see the tyranny, even if in fact he was a valid candidate, if he was eligible, why is he still in position? He has destroyed this nation and nations around the world. It's awesome.
Yeah, the falsified documents should have done away with him a long time ago.
Well, the only powers to impeach lie in Congress, and Congress overall does not have the courage to impeach him. And that should have been done.
He doesn't need to be impeached. He doesn't need to be impeached.
Well, that's the only way you're going to get him out now. He's either going to die in office of natural causes, or he can be impeached, or he could step down. We've asked for him to step down, but nothing's going to happen with this, with the weak people we have in Washington, D.C. So the way it looks now, if he continues, he'll go to the next election and we'll put a new president in. But Congress has the power to do that, and they won't take anything. We sent them all this stuff as a usurper. They know all of that. But what I understand is they're afraid of a black uprising in the country, and it's just ridiculous, the reasons they use in Congress and the courts not to impeach them.
Well,
I know that we're worried about him imposing martial law, because if that happens, we know that there won't be an election, and that it's just going to be, he's just going to stay in office, and it's just going to keep going on and on. I think that's what a lot of this, martial law has to do with and everything. And I'm
right. I really don't think that will happen. I think finally our military will stand up for the people, and I don't think we're going to have that. Obama will never get away with that. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of conspiracy theories out there, the Jade Helm exercises, and of course, Obama will try to get away with as much as he can, but at some point in time, Obama will go down.
Well, and I have to comment on the impeachment. We know he's a usurper. We know he's an enemy. We know he has committed treason time and time again, aiding and abetting the enemy.
14 different times he's committed and violated the Constitution. There's no doubt about it. Yep.
And the point being, if he is guilty, in fact, of being a usurper, impeachment isn't an option anyway. That would give validation to his eligibility.
Well, that's all right. Congress will not accept the usurper. They don't want to talk about it. They won't use it. So we can talk about it all we want to, but that's not going to go anywhere. We've been over that for the last 6 years, and it won't go anywhere because our elected members of Congress won't do anything about it. They don't want to hear it. Even the people on television like Bill O'Reilly and them, they won't talk about it other than, I don't want to hear it. We know he's a communist. We know he's a radical Muslim sympathizer with the Muslim Brotherhood. So what I'm telling y'all, you got to deal with today and tomorrow. Forget all the stuff that's happened in the past. We got to deal with today and tomorrow. How can we change America and change it now? Anything that happened yesterday is all history. So, you know.
No. I have to disagree to some degree because I live in Texas and we are being overrun with foreign invasion through a border that has been opened up by him, and people are dying in my state and all across the country. We're losing more lives to foreign invaders in this country, which is an actual act of war. You know this. You're ex-military.
Sure.
That is an act of war on the people of this nation by a foreign national, and they are complicit in Washington. They are a part of that act. If I go in with you, sir, and I rob a store, and you're driving the car, and I kill somebody, and you get us away for a brief distance, and then we are captured, you suffer under the same letter of the law that I do for my actions inside the store, murdering another individual. You're an accomplice to that, so you too will serve the same sentence that I do, unless you make a deal with the prosecution or the prosecutor. So my point being is he's guilty of murder to the tune of over 5,000 people every year that are dying in this country.
More than that, actually, more because of his lack of strategy and losing all of these young kids being wounded and killed overseas because he lacked the strategy. You said a very important word, though. They are complicit. Washington is complicit in all of this. And with the lack of strong leadership and weakness, that continues to happen. But again, I focus on today and tomorrow because I can't do anything about yesterday. That's gone. So that's where my mind is. My vision is today and tomorrow. So the more we focus on that, the more we'll get things done.
Well, let's focus on today. Today, somebody in my state is going to lose their life if they haven't already to a foreign invader. So I am focusing on today, and it's Russian roulette here. It's a matter of time before my family could possibly become victim of that. And we are invaded. We're at war. Whether people understand the different facets of war or not, they need to educate themselves because we are already at war in this country with foreign bodies.
No doubt about it. We've been at war since 1979.
Yes, sir.
We've been at war since 1979 when the Iranians first attacked our embassy in Turco-Hodges and declared America an enemy. So, but most of America is still asleep. It's sad to say that. We just got to continue. They're gradually waking up. But it's probably going to take either a divine intervention or some kind of a colossal event to happen greater than 9/11 to really wake us up and do it. Anyhow, I've got to run to another appointment, but I've been very happy to be able to join you today.
Thank you so much,
sir. We appreciate it very much. And, we appreciate you, giving us every minute you can. And we know that it's, your time is very valuable. That's for sure. And I want to thank you for joining us.
Okay. Well, you guys take care. Maybe we'll be able to do it again. Keep fighting the fight.
I'd love to.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
God bless.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was General Paul Vallely. I said it right. I hope you heard me say it right. What a great man. You know, I had so many more questions. I know that the time is very short. He let us know that in the door, so nobody say, holy cow, is he short, because we were bombarding him with questions. You know, and, you know, it is what it is. You know, we only had a certain amount of time. We knew that, and, you know, we were trying to answer as many questions as we possibly can. But, you know, what a great man, what a great leader. I am hoping and praying that his groups that he has put together and that he's organized with, you know, even some of these ex-military and stuff, hopefully they will be able to step up and take leadership somehow and maybe get this bum out of office and march on. You know what I mean?
Well, I do, and I hate that he had to get off, because I was about to back him into a corner and make him give me some solid answers on this, because he acknowledged that, in fact, it is an act of war for American citizens to lose their lives by a foreign invasion, and I wanted to address that with the military. If he, in fact, as an ex-military general for the military and the capacity that he still serves in intelligence, understands that is actually an act of war, why the hell aren't they defending America? How come my military is not stepping up to the plate and shutting the border down? And I can't say I can look for tomorrow in the future when the reality of today is this. People are dying at the hands of a usurper. He obviously acknowledged it's a usurper. He acknowledged that impeachment would validate his eligibility. Impeachment my ass. If I kill somebody, I don't get impeached. I get the sentence that is given for that crime.
You know, to be honest with you, Becky, I think, and it's not a knock to you, okay? So don't take it a bad way. But I think that you would kind of put a little bit of pressure on him, a little bit too much in some of the areas. And I think that he felt that he was kind of forcing his answer. So I think that's kind of why he kind of, you know, maybe felt like he was being pushed a little bit. So maybe that's why he backed out, you know, when he did.
You know
no big
what?
deal. We got the answer.
You know what? Here's my deal. If you hold that capacity, you should be able to handle the pressure if somebody's asking you a direct question. Or if I'm incorrect, I want him to correct me. That's what I was pushing for. It's my mindset.
Oh, no, absolutely. I agree with you.
You know what
absolutely. I mean? Yeah. Oh, no, there's no doubt about it. See, my next question, we didn't really let him get to the whole Benghazi thing. We didn't even let him get out his websites and stuff. All I know is I hear a lot of background noise. It sounds like somebody's breathing really hard into the phone. But
it might be Bill. I've opened up his mic.
Oh,
and
okay.
God bless him.
Okay. Well, you know what? We're going to get to Bill in a second because I got a couple questions for him. But what I would like to say, though, is, you know, I think that, you know, his answers were very good answers, and he was very, very to the point. But one thing that I wanted to ask him, you know, I think he knows what's going on because one of his answers said, look, forget about the past, worry about today and tomorrow, get your things in order, and get prepared. What I wanted to ask him is does he think, and maybe he got some intel from some of the people that he works with or used to work with, do any of them think that there might be some kind of major disaster that's coming, you know, Mother Nature or otherwise, you know, maybe Yellowstone, maybe, you know, one of these, you know, meteors, asteroids, I don't know, something. But I'm wondering if they got any kind of intel and they know anything about some kind of disaster that's coming, because I have a feeling that's what a lot of this stuff is that's going on right now. That's why they moved NORAD to Chicago and put it underground. Okay, no, not NORAD, I'm sorry, the bank. They moved the bank to Chicago and underground. They put NORAD back in the mountains, what was Stargate Mountain or whatever. You know, they're moving all these things. All the big elites are all going underground right now. I mean, why? Why are they moving? Because something is about to go down. And I don't think that we're on the brink of going to war with Russia. I don't think we're on the brink of going to war with China. I don't think that any of that is the case, okay? I think that we're led to believe that. I think something else big is going on, and they don't know what to do because it's going to be one of those types of things that they're not prepared for, and neither are we. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Welcome, brother. Welcome, Brother Bill. Sorry we didn't get you on with the General. He let us know before we even started the interview that he was only giving us 15 to 20 minutes. So we were already, we already had our yellow pad, striking out a lot of questions that we had for him. We were marking off the unimportant questions.
Let me unmute Bill's mic again, brother.
Yeah, I was going to say, good answer,
yeah.
Bill.
And he gave you guys 25 minutes.
There you go. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Absolutely. We have no complaint on how much time he gave us. He was a very nice person. He actually called me on my cell phone before he called the show, and him and I went over some things, and he said, look, I don't have any guidelines. Whatever you want to talk about, let's rock with it. If I can't answer you, I'll let you know I can't answer you. But he goes, I don't think there's anything off limits. So,
well, right.
I mean,
and I think he actually stepped forward to do that. His answers to be understood or to be heard are in the listening. I don't think that he wants to be guided in his answer. You just have to ask a question and let him answer it. But he told some pretty revealing things, though, in the listening that we've talked about before, that the military, we already know that everything that they've done is wrong, but to just jump on the actions and start slapping people around, and we might be rightful in taking the guy out of office and doing this, that, and the other thing, but he's a man who comes from a place where if you resolve something, it should be resolved. It should be completed. It should be done. You don't just start a mess that becomes this political chess game or some kind of a war, or you have to go for public opinion. I believe the extent of what he means, I think, when he answered the way he did, in that the military will step up to back the people. And he was clear also that this guy's going down. I think that what we should be looking to do is putting ourselves in a position to obviously defend ourselves, but be prepared for that event, in that we are sideable. We're together. We're going to side with our military, and that our military can side with us when it happens, because it's not just getting a guy out of office. He confirmed also, and it went by so quickly that, it was a pretty important question that Becky brought up, that he's a part of the Muslim Brotherhood. And he didn't, suggest that, it looks like it's possible. He just quickly and matter-of-factly said, yes, he is.
Yeah,
and that's my point.
But that's a big answer. That's a big answer, though.
It is a big answer. But at the same time, he's saying that, he's saying, look, they won't impeach him. Bullshit. You got an enemy operating as commander-in-chief in this country. You fucking go get him.
He revealed something with the rest of his other answers that we should probably pay a little bit more attention to. And it's noticed, it's known. There are things coming up. The man is going down, and at a point, the military is going to step up and back the people. So it's not like, that just pisses me off, we're going to jump in, we're going to do something about it right now. I think he's looking at whatever actions are to be taken. They should resolve the problem.
Yeah. Look, okay. I read it just like you did, Bill. I read every answer the way that you read it. I was paying attention to what he was saying and how he was saying it. And for those that, like all of us, okay, for those in the know, He was letting us know, hey, pay attention to what's going on, okay? The military's not going to take this shit much longer. They're going to step up. That's what he said, okay? And not so many words.
Meanwhile, people are dying. Meanwhile, we've got a DOJ that's in bed with the Muslim Brotherhood. Meanwhile, war is being waged on America, and not a damn thing is being done. That's my point.
Well, but he can't do anything about that.
No. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about our military. So here's the deal. What I got out of it, which was offensive to me, is I'm not looking at what happened yesterday. I'm looking at today and tomorrow. Well, truth of the matter. Today, somebody's loved one is being murdered. Tomorrow, somebody's loved one is being murdered, and nobody is doing anything about it. Nobody.
Well, but that's been going on for hundreds of years. That's been happening for hundreds of years.
Well,
right, and in the meanwhile, we've got to get our local. In the meanwhile, we've got to get our local people to take a little bit more action against preventing some of that, and it's a tragedy. He said that the numbers are actually much greater than 5,000, not just domestically, but he also associated the people lost in these acts of war that are occurring elsewhere besides here. But the point is that you take a rightful stand and you go after that. For, let's say, the 5,000 people, and you take out 11 or 12 people, and it's like, what have you actually accomplished when there are several thousand people tied to this and a whole structure of corrupt, invaded regime that needs to be removed? And ultimately, I think that's where it was all kind of leading. But, even with when he started to reveal acknowledging that these acts are actually treason, yes, and what they had on Hillary, but some other questions came on pretty quickly before he had a chance to even emphasize on Benghazi a little bit further. Because, he did bring up Trey Gowdy, and Trey Gowdy is working on that commission that Vallely actually helped form to get to the bottom of some of these things. Now, granted, in the body that they're in, we're not seeing the body do what we want, but it is being exposed for not doing what we want, and those players are put on the board, I think, on purpose, because when it all goes down, we're not going to just take out 11 or 12 people, and we're not just looking to protect the 5,000 people that are killed by foreign invaders across the border in crimes. We're looking at stopping the whole damn thing and saving millions of people, perhaps, at least hundreds of thousands, and taking out the whole mechanism, not just 11 people or 12 people that are corrupted within it. I think that's kind of where it sounded like, these are confirmations of things that we've talked about before, but he wasn't able to elaborate, and it didn't seem like he was able to get through the whole line of what he was started on to answer. That's just what it sounded like to me. I had my phone on mute while I was listening, and I tried to listen as closely as possible, and from other conversations that I've had with him.
We know where he stood on Benghazi. We know where he stands on Benghazi. He's been very public and very vocal on that across the board, even in his interviewing. And we know that he backed another brass individual, Lakin, I believe was his name, who actually suffered a court-martial for refusing to obey Obama's orders to move forward with a mission. And his citing was in court, and they rebuked it in the military courts, that Obama is not an eligible commander-in-chief in order to initiate those orders to him. So he refused to take them. He suffered a court-martial, lost his commissions, and I believe he served a 6-month sentence before release on that. So I know where the general stands. But I am not in the military. I am not part of government. I am a citizen or natural-born individual, however you want to label me, in this country, and we're at friggin' war. We're at war. He admitted it, and now our military's position is to defend the people of America, first and foremost, domestic or foreign, and nobody is doing it.
Yeah, but I think everybody's gotten used to us fighting a war just to be fighting a war rather than fighting a war to win the war. And fighting a war to win the war looks differently than fighting a war just because it's a war.
You know what? Tell that to the people whose babies are dying, whose mamas are dying, whose daddies are dying in America.
I understand. I understand, but there are millions of us at stake of that and worse, actually. And that's what we're here to hopefully avoid and live through.
I agree, and it's an easy application. The military step up and defend this god dang country and its citizens, and remove the tyranny and the usurper. It's that friggin' simple. We can't do it. We've proven that. The powers that be will not do it. It falls on the shoulders of the military at this point, and they are not defending America. Period. Period. I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about it. Every time I open up a news article that says another individual has been raped, a baby has been murdered, a person has died at the hands of a foreign invader in my country, I'm not happy about it. You know why? Because it's not only the local authorities' position that have been complicit by way of being whores by federal-funded money and toys and goodies, that they turn their backs, they turn their heads, and they allow the things that are going on in Washington. I know it's terrible across the globe. I know it's been going on since 1979, which only validates my point. It's time for that shit to stop.
There's a whole bunch of this stuff that is kind of up to us to do also. We're not just, this is kind of what we've become in America, where we sit back and it's like we hand the ball off to somebody and say, fix all of this. Now, I think that the big picture, the game, the big board will be resolved by these people, but there's a whole bunch of the entire setup and problems and troubles and everything else that's going on that's pretty much up to us. And it has been all along. And for years now, we've been talking about this and not doing our part in this. We're just like at the point now where it's like we put the whole ball, even in a 25-minute interview, you can't really put the whole ball in Major General Paul Vallely's lap and say, fix this.
I'm not.
I think he's a guy there to do it.
Stop right there. That is not
or the military, for that matter, if their point is to resolve it.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I absolutely can. You know why I can? Because it's their position to defend the citizens of this country against foreign and domestic enemies, and I am not seeing that. So I beg to differ, sir. Yes, I can. I can put it in their lap, because if it fits and the shoe hurts, tough shit. I
got you there, Becky. I'm with you on that. But what I'm saying is for them to resolve the whole matter instead of just fight to satisfy some of us when it's rightful and have a war that's not resolved. I tend to I hold close and in some cases confident assurance in conversations and in my own beliefs that, and I've said it all along, even if Jade Helm were to be, and the general even made some implication when you asked the questions about Jade Helm, and he gave his opinion on it, that, if Obama and his administration would try to interfere or cause problems with that our military would step up and not let that happen. Now, that's something that we talked about weeks ago, and I said that I believe that strongly and that we needed to be ready because it did come to that. The military would step up for us, but we needed to be sensible and organized so that we could participate and assure that good conclusion.
That was Bobby's conversation with him, but I heard it. I understand what you're saying. And please understand my anger. My anger is the lives are lost do count. They do matter. Because by saying those things to me, it was the same thing as, in my opinion and in my heart and the way that I took it, and maybe I shouldn't have, but I did, is Hillary sitting up there and saying, what difference does it make? Well, I'll tell you how much difference it makes.
Yeah, her words, what difference at this point does it matter? I remember her words so specifically because they insulted me.
Well, and that's how I felt whenever he said, listen, we can't change yesterday. blah, 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 blah. And it's the same thing. Well, no, sir, I have to disagree. You go tell that to the families, that the people that are dying daily in this friggin' country that are under attack by a foreign invasion that's been orchestrated by a usurper who doesn't belong there, that the military and Congress refuse to take out a position and shut our borders down and tend our people.
But in a sense, he was also right. You can't change that. You can do the right thing in the end and make these people pay, but you can't change the fact that these people have still lost their family members. They have lost them. More people are going to lose family.
I can't change, and that's why I said what I said. I can't change yesterday, but by God, I need to stop what the hell is going on today and tomorrow. And we collectively as a nation need to listen. He also said something I didn't get to address. He said, unless some divine intervention takes place, I'm going to tell you folks right now, if you haven't gotten on bended knees and started praying for a hedge of protection around this country and around its people, I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you because you've lost your faith. We do need a divine intervention. This thing that is happening to us, these things around the world, Christians are being persecuted. Whites are being pitted to.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. We can't go out there and fix all of those things. We have to fix the cause of it here. If we fix the cause of it here, these things can start being resolved everywhere else. And that's just the whole point about getting fractured and having to jump on the whole planet. We fix things here. If we fix things here, a lot of these other problems elsewhere and everywhere else can be resolved. But he did answer your question in a certain way, and what he referred to, unless there's some divine intervention, I took that very clearly as that could avoid things going further. However, he was already clear on what he said before that, and what he said before that is if it comes down to anything that these people do onto the people, the military will step in and back the people. So the divine intervention.
Down to it. No, I'm going to rebuke that. What you just said. Listen to what you just said. It already has come down on us. It's coming down on us daily. So what? That's like my spouse saying, "No, honey, I'm not cheating on you." And in the meantime, the bitch is naked in the bed. Listen to what you said.
Then you leave the bitch and resolve the problem from ever happening again. I'm not really arguing with you. I'm just trying to have you look at it in a different. I know you're pissed off, and I've talked with for the last so many years. It's made me kind of crazy in some ways. But all of these Patriot guys, it's like they've got theirs. They've got their several thousand rounds of ammo, and they've got all of their firearms. And if they come to my house, I'm going down shooting. And it's like, well, I'm just going to grab my guns and go out shooting. It's like, yeah, you can do that. But wouldn't it be better if you contributed to an effort that restored the constitutional republic in our nation? I think that was the place he was trying to come from. And I know that you were angry, but you steered his answers a little bit, and I think it kind of, even though he gave us 25 minutes, it felt like he did. It felt like he did when I was listening.
Hold up. Give me a break. I didn't steer his answers. This man has more under his belt when it comes to being put or pressure being applied to his position.
I'm not talking about pressure. I'm just talking about.
I didn't misguide or direct him in any direction. I gave him factual information, and I asked him direct questions. I did not attack the man, nor did I try to redirect his answer in any fashion, shape, or form. I disagree with you completely because that wasn't my intention at all. And I've got people texting me right now agreeing with that, by the way. So I understand that maybe you felt that way.
That's why I was saying about his answers. A lot to be gotten from his answers were in the listening about what he made factual, and to have gone from there might have worked out a little bit better for you to have heard more from him that you might have been looking to hear.
I get what you're saying, and I respect your position, and we all see things in different fashions, but I'm going to stand my ground on this and in my conviction with saying that We're already under attack. Things are already affecting this country inside our borders, never mind what's going on around the world, because everything that happens here affects people around the world. Period. We know this already. But if this has been going on, and by your own admittance and by the general's admittance, this has been going on since 1979, by God, it's time to put a foot up somebody's ass and stop the madness. And we're already under attack, and lives are being lost, and we're already at war, and we're not being defended. And I don't want to see a civil uprising. I don't want to see martial law. I don't want to see a revolution. But I do want the madness to stop. And you know I do not advocate violence against the government or anybody else on this show. I will give my disclaimer to that. But it does need to be stopped by whatever means has to be used to stop the people dying in this country, and the invasion and the Muslim foothold in my country needs to stop.
Okay,
period.
Sarah, let me interject. Okay, I see why Becky's getting aggravated about it, but I also, Bill, I read into it, a whole lot. I read into it a whole lot more because I think I was getting more of an answer out of it. I think that he wanted to say more. But I think that, I don't know, I think that he kind of felt, that he couldn't continue with the answer or something for some odd reason. But you know what? It is what it is. We know where we're at right now. We know what we do, but it's not being done, okay? And like you said, all these supposed patriots that aren't doing a damn thing, okay, except for sitting there being keyboard warriors. They're not out. They're not putting their boots on the ground. They're not, sending funds to anybody. They're not doing anything except for maybe inciting riots. Okay, that would be one good way of describing it, and I'll tell you why in a second here. But some of these people are hurting things more than they're helping them. Okay. Now, take, for instance, I'm not going to name names, okay, but you're going to know who I'm talking about. Not going to name names. But a supposed patriot today had the audacity to call out another patriot that is a man that's done a lot for this country. He's suffering right now from the things that he's done for this country. Okay, and he's paying a very heavy price for the things that he's done for us. And he was actually told by somebody else that he's really nobody. Okay, and what I'm getting down to here is patriots fighting with patriots over the stupidest things. Okay. And here, I'm gonna do a for instance. What I'm talking about right now, these guys sitting here having pissing matches with each other. Who's got more followers? Who's got this? Who's got that? Who gives a shit? Okay? Does it really matter who's got more followers? Does it really matter who likes something more on somebody's page? No, it does not. Okay? And for one patriot to knock another patriot for anything that is a stupid subject, like, I got more likes than you, I put out more videos than you, I put out more information than you. Excuse me, come on, really, you want to argue over something so stupid like that? That pisses me off, okay?
That becomes the most important factor to somebody who that is all it's about.
Well, the one person is very self-centered, and it's always got to be about them. Okay, it's never about the big picture. It's always about this one person. Okay, and a lot of you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you all followed it today, but you know what? It's not right. Okay, and for somebody to say to another person that is paying dearly, okay, for what he's done for this country, for somebody to go, oh, yeah, well, yeah, well, nobody knows who you are. I mean, you've really never done anything. And, I mean, maybe I'm not saying all the right words, but, you know, he was pretty much knocked. And, you know, and it was pretty much taken off of his pedestal, I guess you could say. So, somebody was questioning Casey Massey. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. If you want to know who it is, you can go and look on Casey's page and see what was going on.
Thank you.
I was on Terry Dodd's show last night, Bobby, and you know, something was brought up along the lines of what you were just talking about. We've got a lot of problems in the Patriot movement. Bill will agree with me on this, I'm sure. We've got a lot of pride going on that is getting in the way of organizing and progress to find a solution or an answer to the issues that we face. Across the board, if we don't unite, Michael Hutton said it best the other night as well when I was on Jim's show with him. If we do not find a way to resolve our differences, still love each other, agree to disagree on some things, agree to agree on the others, but collectively get together and take the great minds that, because, look, it's obvious. It's obvious that nobody is going to come to our rescue. Our military's not. The leadership is not. Nobody's going to come to our rescue. Bill is correct in that. We have to do this ourselves. We have to
I didn't say that the military wasn't going to come to our rescue.
No,
I'm
not
that so far they're not doing what you want them to do, but that ultimately I believe that they're going to be there exactly as they need to be if it comes to that. That's what I meant. No. My reference wasn't that at all. If you'd let me finish, I would have told you. I agree with you that we have to take responsibility and do some things for ourselves. Now, as far as what I want, I'm going to put emphasis on that because you did in your statement. I'm going to correct you. It's not what I want. It's what their duty is. So let's correct that. Okay? It's not about what I want. I want the murders to stop. I want the invasion to stop. But it is their duty, not my duty, to perform such a duty. So it's not about what I want or what I don't want. Let's don't make this a selfish matter because it's not. I fight for all people. Black, white, yellow, red, green, it doesn't matter. I want the killing to stop in America. I want the division to stop in America. I want the invasion to stop in America. And but the way America's set up, it's not the military's job. In fact, it is forbidden that the military just assume that job right off the bat. There are so many layers of the civilians and in law enforcement and other agencies that's supposed to occur. But Becky,
really?
That when it does happen, it'll have to be a complete act of resolve. It's not. We can't have them come in to do the policing. Now, granted, this all does need to be resolved, and at some point they very well may have to step in. But it is also possible that if we exercise all the parameters and all the agencies or remove the agencies that shouldn't be in the way and have the other agencies and enforcements that are supposed to be doing this to get them to do that, we can. Now, if that starts to happen and this administration steps in and causes a problem, if Jade Helm is going along smoothly as an exercise and the administration decides to go ahead with our bigger plan and try to come and go ahead and crack down on the people, then I think that the military would step in there as well and do what you're hoping to see, but they will do it as a final resolve. It won't be something where, like, we send troops over to cause all these actions that go on for such a long period of time. They'll go in to resolve the issue and the matter, especially in something like this.
Saying. I get what you're saying, and I certainly don't want to see them policing anything. But what I do want to see is the invasion stopped, and I do want to see those invaders removed, period.
You know, your state can do that instantly. I'm saying at least in Texas. Yeah, I'm saying they could do it themselves instantly in the state of Texas, at least at the border. I'm just saying there are a lot of things that can be done that aren't being done before the military comes in. Your governor can declare a state of emergency. He can claim and activate all the militia that he wants. He can take his National Guard and his state guard and do all of that. So all of these other things that aren't happening first aren't happening. However, if it goes to the point, because it's not happening, that this president and this administration takes it on themselves to make the big move, well, at that point, yep, the military is going to be there. I really believe so. But we still have to be ready.
I know that. I'm well aware of that. We're applying pressure to our governor to do that very thing. I'm on a committee right now, and we're doing everything we can to resolve our issues in Texas. You can bet your ass on that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's every state, too. Every state, and especially my state. Well, Chicago, I hate to say it, Bobby, it may be far worse even than California.
No! The stereo yogurt is real.
What the hell was that?
He's trying to stick up for his roots from the background.
Who was that?
I think it was Bobby a little bit away from his phone.
No, it wasn't me. I was muted. Wasn't me.
I have no idea what that was.
What other line is open?
None. That was crazy. I have no idea.
Maybe General Vallely is still on the phone with us.
He's gone.
I want to say something.
Hey, Bill, let me ask you a question, Bill. I understand that Paul and you have a history. You guys are buddies, or you're going to go to work for him?
Well, no, I'm not gonna say that. I mean, I've spoken with the man and I've met him.
Oh, okay.
I have a lot of respect for him.
I got a good idea. How about this? Let's give out the phone number. Let's try to get some people on the line here, and maybe we got some people that want to talk about some good things.
I want to say one thing really quick, because you were bringing up about asteroids or comets and stuff like that. I have some attachments and associations with some pretty prominent folks who are outside of the mainstream bullshit that we have to suffer under regarding cosmology and astronomy and all of the physics for the electric universe and such as that. And they watch the skies pretty closely. And they have as much of a recording and access to information on incoming objects as anyone. And something like that isn't headed for us right now. However, there could be volcanic eruption from almost everywhere. Yellowstone's a big problem. But moving the bank to Chicago from New York, that signifies other problems, because you would actually be moving it closer to Yellowstone if Yellowstone was going to be a problem. So that wouldn't really serve it so much. But let's face it, Chicago has kind of proven itself to be the most secured hub of this cartel mafia that these people operate under. And why not?
Because we're not by any coast. We don't have any coast here.
Yeah, and if they decide they want to have actions that destroy New York further, you might as well already be set up in your home base in Chicago.
Right. Exactly.
Just my thoughts. I'm done with that. I mean, probably should have kept it to myself, but there it is.
Well, you know what, Bill? You have to question. Bobby brought up a valid point, which was, why have they moved the Federal Reserve to Chicago? You know what I'm saying? Why would you do that? Why?
I thought I just kind of answered that in that it's proven to be their primary base that they already have secured to get away with and enact practically anything that they want. That is the hub of the current regime as far as we see it, this cartel criminal mafia, this global group. And besides, who knows what they have in store further for New York. But, I mean, you might as well bring it where your home base is proven to be. I mean, that report that Bobby shared from earlier, that page thing, it even signifies, how one of the Obama people's primary consults forever is now the mayor there they've got everything secured. I might as well put their bank there too, right?
Yeah, him and both of his brothers. They got it completely locked down here.
Besides, what's the bank anyway? What does it hold in it? The bank is tied through a million computers now. The bank is nothing real. It doesn't matter. It's not like an empty Fort Knox where, they have to symbolize that something's actually there. They're just moving themselves and their headquarters closer to their mafia headquarters, I suppose you could say.
Yeah,
and why not?
Absolutely.
On the move,
all right,
Bobby.
Let's open up the phone line. 929-477-3565. 929-477-3565. If you have any questions, comments, you want to debate something, or if you want to add on to the muck that we just went through, you can do that. I mean, we're here for you, So we got all kinds of flavors for you today. So come on board.
All right, let's address the biker situation in Arizona. Bobby, what do you know about what's going on in Arizona today, brother? It's about to take place in just a short few hours, and it tends to be a volatile situation possibly out there. Can you give us some info on that?
Well, I know that there has been a threat. Okay, all types of threats coming out today. There's been tweets that have been released from the ISIS groups and, just jihad and whatever, the extremists, Islamists, whatever. And, they're talking about bloodshed. And, there's also been a threat of some kind of blast. Everybody's trying to figure out what the hell they're talking about because there has been a credible, viable threat that was made about some kind of blast. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm still waiting on intel, but you know what? To be honest with you, because I'm on my phone doing the show, I wouldn't be able to get the intel right now through the party that I'm waiting on it from because I can't get anything through my internet while I'm on the phone. So I probably wouldn't be able to, to say any more than that because that's really all I have. And without betting anything, I wouldn't want to, put too much more out there. But, there has been plenty of threats all day today on Twitter, coming from them groups saying that they're going to do something and that there's going to be bloodshed and that there's going to be revenge today. And then the final one was that that there was some kind of blast. That's all the word was blast.
Was a blast, you said, B-L-A-S-T?
Yeah, blast. Exactly.
I haven't seen that.
Wow. That's pretty disturbing, Bill.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I did read from someone where they were talking about including the bikers and all of these other people as security measures in case something were to happen, which I appreciated. It was nice to see it presented that way. It's how it should always be. It's how we should always be, whether we're a biker, a short wearer, a militia guy. It doesn't matter. Whatever you are, the bikers seem to step up more than most people. But I was just glad to see that it was presented that way. But I didn't hear anything about the kind of trouble that Bobby just mentioned. I'd like to look into that.
Well, I do know that there was a Muslim on Twitter that actually gave out the home address and the information on the Marine that organized this run in Arizona. And he also is one that was making threats, don't bring your kids, we're going to kill them. We'll spill their blood to the event.
Yeah. I know that they have definitely made threats, and that's confirmed, and that's known. Those are the kind of things that in line with what you were complaining about earlier, Becky, those are the kind of things that local or these supposedly legitimate federal agencies are supposed to act on immediately. those are the kind of things that they are required to step up to immediately that they're not doing. So,
well, didn't they give out the Marines' address? They had
a bunch of them. They've done that with a bunch of people, but I heard that they did that here as well.
Yeah, because they gave out this Marine's address, and I don't know if they gave out his phone number or whatever, and made a threat towards his family. So he said that he had to move his family out and put them to a safe location. I know that there's plenty of militia down there. I did see pictures of guys in some of the groups that I'm in that, it's 3% groups. A bunch of people sent, members down there. Everybody's completely locked and loaded, to my understanding. And, I know that a lot of bikers were supposed to be coming. I was told this morning that some people that were headed on their way back from the trip to Washington from Rolling Thunder from Monday were still off cruising around, and they were headed that way. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much of it is true until we actually see what's going on here at 6 o'clock. So that would be 8 o'clock Central, so 6 p.m., in Arizona time, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I've got somebody that should be, or we're talking to her right now, covering that live stream for Patriotic Warriors. She's in Arizona, about 30 minutes from the event. I wish I could have been there today, but we're really flooded in down here in Texas, and trying to get a flight out or even drive out was not a good idea.
Well, all my in-laws live there. I mean, if I really needed to, I could probably pick up the phone and, make a phone call and find out, because my wife's mother, grandmother, uncles, cousins all live there, and they're all in that area. So. Yeah.
Well, the person that we're speaking to in Arizona has some ties to a lot of the biker organizations there, and she knows a lot of people that are going to be attending that event. So I know that they'll keep an eye on her. You know what I mean? They'll watch out for her. But we're talking to her, and if she can get the application in place, she's going to go ahead and show up at Denny's and start doing a live stream at 5 p.m., which is where they're meeting prior to going over to the mosque, and then at 6:15. The event will kick off. They're going to leave Denny's at 6 and be at the mosque, which is only about 10 minutes away.
Well, here, let's be real about this, okay? And you're not going to be able to be any more real than we're going to be right now. From what happened in Texas, okay, and you know as well as I do that these guys want revenge. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Revenge is the only thing on their mind right now. It's the only thing.
Well, I've talked to a couple of them. They don't want revenge. They want to make a point.
Right. So that's what's going on. Now, you're bringing it to their house. Okay? Now, I think that this Marine went about this all wrong. I mean, I know that he went national, he made it very public. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not knocking him. Okay, he's a stand-up guy. I give him a lot of credit for what he's doing, but I think he went about it completely wrong. Okay? And he would be the type of person that I would have to say is kind of like the person that kind of knocked Casey Massey today. Okay? Hey, it's about me. Over here, look, me. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that about this person because I don't know him personally. But the way that he went about it, that kind of seems what it's like right now. But I give him a lot of credit because he's got a big bullseye on his back right now that, is going to be very, very hard to take off. And I don't care what kind of detergent you use, it's probably not going to come off. Okay? So,
I don't think he's taking it, Bobby, I don't think he's taking it to their house. This is our country. And they're trying to take our country. And here's a man who fought in a war, several. He's had his tour of duty. he's tired of seeing the things go on in America that are going on, and he's making a point. He and the other writers.
Oh no, and I give him all the credit in the world for that, Becky. Believe me. I mean,
our half.
Right. Well,
yeah.
you know, it probably sounded bad the way that I just did it, but I'm just saying the way that he went about it. Okay, I mean, it's not a knock to what he's doing, because what he's doing, I mean, I can't tell you, if I had 10 people I can name right now, 10 of my friends that I can think of maybe one person that might have the balls to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
Okay? So, I mean, the guy has a lot of heart, and there's no doubt about that. So.
Well, and I agree, and I pray to God there's no bloodshed or discord. You know, I certainly hate to see something come out of this that is not favorable for the Patriot community, and most certainly the vets. They've already been demonized. June 7th, speaking of demonizing the bikers and the vets, they've called them everything in the book but human beings, mainstream media, even Joe for America. If Joe hears this, whoever that writer is for Joe for America, kiss my ass, you idiot. He demonized them to death, even the bikers going into Arizona. He said a bunch of armed, angry veterans and outlaws, gangs, going in to shoot up Arizona, basically. And, Joe, you need to shut the hell up and sit down. I'd like to slap the taste buds out of your stupid
Wait,
mouth.
who, Sheriff Joe?
No, it's Joe for America, the writer for Joe for America.
Oh, okay, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Sheriff Joe.
Nah.
Because I was going to say, that is not one man that they want to play with. That is not one man.
I respect Sheriff Joe, but this is some idiot that wrote an article. But we have an event going on June 7th down here in Waco. We've got a freeze out for anybody around the Waco area. They're asking you guys to freeze out the economy there, if you will. Buy your groceries and your gas outside of that county. Go ahead and let them feel the sting for holding captive 170 innocent individuals, none of which stabbed anyone or had a physical confrontation, nor did they fire a weapon on anyone. They're being demonized as well by a spokesperson for the police department. It's already been caught in several lies addressing the public about the situation in Waco. So there will be a rally in Waco on June 7th. For anybody that would like to join that rally in Waco, please do. We need to show this corrupt government down in Waco and the police force that they need to be held accountable for a slaughter, and they need to let the people who are innocent go in jail. They're running their lives. Many have lost their jobs. They're unable to pay their bills. Their entire lives are being destroyed, not to mention the lives of those that fell in Waco that day. I knew two of them personally. They were not one-percenters. They had families. They had jobs, and they were anything but a gangster or outlaw that were actually murdered by the police that day. So I knew them personally, and I can testify to those facts that they were not there for trouble, seeking trouble, or any kind of vendetta over territory when they went to this event. So I would testify to that in a court of law. Please,
hey, let me ask you a question. What do you think?
Yes.
What do you think about what the federal government did, telling clubs they can't wear the cups no more?
Well, I think they're picking on somebody they really don't want to pick on. Like I said, and like the government said, more than half of the population that ride a bike today are actually motorcycle clubs that consist of many chapters of veterans who are actually qualified to remove the tyranny and more than capable. I don't think they want to fight that war, and I don't think they want to fight the patriots that'll back them. Flying your pride on the back of your jacket identifies what group you're with for many reasons, and I think the government's pretty ignorant. If they're going to do that, they need to go tell the colored folk on the streets, the Blood and the Crips, that they can't wear red and blue, and they need to tell black folks they can't wear FUBU, and they need to tell white folks they can't wear Nike. You know what I'm saying? That's what it would come down to.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. We know that. We absolutely know that. Now, I was just wondering what you thought about that because, I mean, I know a lot of motorcycle enthusiasts, and they're not going to stop wearing their cut. I mean, you know, you can try to take it off their back if you want. I mean, that's up to you, but I highly do not recommend it, especially if they're wearing a little diamond on the front that says 1%. Okay, because that means that they have pretty much a zero tolerance for your pole spin. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
If you see the diamond, especially, yeah, that might be the one you may not want to say take your cut off. Okay. The other ones that don't have the diamond, you might get away with it, but I still wouldn't even try it.
That probably wouldn't because. I think you would see all the motorcycle clubs across the border, even those that want to portray themselves as 1%ers. I think you'd see them unite in a force that would not be pretty. So no, I would say no. I probably wouldn't do that. I think the government overstepping.
They're all good people. Okay, I know a lot of bikers. They're no different from you and me and Joe Blow down the street, okay? They handle matters just like a regular person handles matters. I mean, do you let somebody come into your house and do you let them just, you know, do whatever the hell they want in your house? No. They're not going to let you just do the same thing to them, okay? It's you know, bikers are no different than anybody else. You know, they just like to ride a bike. Big damn deal. Leave them the hell alone already. Okay, and that event that you were talking about that's going to be going on in Waco, I've heard, well, not heard, I should say, have seen about 4 different event flyers for that same weekend in that same area. Now, I don't know if it's different organizations and different clubs doing something to raise proceeds to get their people out of jail, which very well could be it. But, I mean, there's going to be a lot of motorcycle activity down there while that's going on that weekend, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend anybody that would like to help out to go down there and be part of that. I mean, that would be an experience you probably would never have experienced in your life, okay?
Well,
now, one thing...
Bobby, they're trying to freeze out the economy down there to show... unity in forcing them to release those individuals that they have incarcerated in the jails. So, you know, that's why they're doing what they're doing, and they want to show up in unity, and I think that we need to back that up. I mean, come on, people. That could have been your brother, your sister, your daddy, your aunt, your uncle. It doesn't matter. It could have been your family member that was slaughtered by the police department, who obviously had plans to do so. These events take place bi-monthly all over the country between motorcycle clubs. We have evidence that this meeting, by way of websites and Facebook pages that, by the way, the government has taken down, that this was a peaceful meeting and a status quo, something that is done across the board, across this country, effectively every month, where they sit down and they talk about politics and advocacy for motorcycle riders and for clubs, safety issues on the road, things of that nature. So one would have to ask, A, why did they target those clubs? The other question would be why that day they did what they did. Why did they surround them? Why did they have snipers on buildings? Why did they have police force out there to begin with? All the motorcyclists I know, and I know many clubs. I ride a Harley myself, and I've been associated with friends from the Banditos, if you can imagine, sat and had coffee more than once and breakfast at a coffee shop where I met them. I didn't ride with them, but I know them. Scorpions. One of the little boys I went to school with, is a brother of one of my best friends from elementary school. Her brother rides with the Banditos. Do I agree with some of the things that go on in that club? No, I don't. Are they all like that? No, they're not. We got bad apples everywhere in society and in motorcycle clubs alike. I won't deny that. but we have to question why they targeted the groups that they did. And to ask them to take off their patches, to not wear their cut or fly their colors would be the equivalent of telling a vet they can't fly their patch. That's what it's like. Go ahead and tell one he can't.
Well, I got to be honest with you, Becky. I don't think that has anything to do with what happened that day.
I don't either.
They already had the COC. Okay, they were at the end of the day. They were breaking bread. They went to the place that they chose that they supported, and the place that supported them and allowed them to do functions and stuff. And something went astray. Some people are reporting that there was a officer that used to be a detective with the police department that was still a CI that was that was inside the restaurant or the bar or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, do I know that? No, I wasn't there. But I will tell you this. I listened to Casey Massey's show. He did 2 shows about this whole incident, okay? Casey knows a lot of those guys. How he knows them, I don't know. It's none of my business. I know he used to ride with the group. I don't know which group, so I'm not going to say what group because I have no idea. But I do know one thing for sure. If Casey Massey tells me something about something, I'm pretty much taking it to the bank. So Casey said, he did 2 shows, and they were excellent shows. And, if you want to hear a lot of good information, that was the 2 shows to listen to. So if anybody wants to go back in the archives, go on back, listen to the show, and you will learn a lot.
Hey, I've got a couple of people that have stayed on the line throughout the whole show. They don't have their hands up, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up a line and see if I can get them to chat with us. Area code 469.
You love to do that to people. I don't know why.
I know, right? Area code 469.
That's me, ding, ding, dinging.
All right. Hey,
okay.
Area code 469. Who's on the line? Karen, is that you? Do I have a fan that's shy? 469.
You're just Johnny on the spot, ain't you?
They're not going to say a word. I don't know who it is. But they've been on the entire show, and they didn't have their hand up. I just like to do that to the listeners now and again, just see if I can catch them off guard.
Don't do that to people. If they want to talk, they'll put their hands up. I mean, that's kind of like, I wouldn't even know how to compare that to. Is Bill still on the phone with us?
Yeah, I just muted him while I did that to 469. It's like Candid Camera, Bobby.
You're on Candid Camera.
Yeah, it's just kind of a, I don't know, childish thing to do, but it's a lot of fun. I love it when I capture them off guard.
Hey, believe me, nobody wants to hear me sing, and Becky can attest to this. A little while ago, before the show started, I asked General Vallely, hey, how do you say your name correctly so I can say it correctly? And he said,
the song?
Oh, yeah, I just said it wrong again. He said, Vallely. It's very easy, and if you sing it, you can do it right. Vallely. And he started singing, and I'm like, sir, you don't want to hear me sing. Because if I sing, a lot of people are not going to be on the show any longer.
You know that Amy Winehouse song, Why Don't You Come On Over, Valerie? Just remember that one. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? And that's it. That's how you're going to do it.
Yeah. You don't need to sing either. So.
That's funny you would say that because I actually kick ass at karaoke, man.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, but only when I'm rapping. No, come on, seriously, anybody want to talk? Press that number 1 so we know you want to talk. I mean, we only got a little while left here. It's actually starting to rain. I'm actually outside trying to get my check out of no, not my check, just my check stub, because I'm working late today, and I had to get out. I had to get out to get my check stub, and all of a sudden, it's pouring down rain. It's like, yay! They knew I was getting out of the car.
Don't you
Hey,
love
here's
that
something
video?
that
Go ahead.
What was that,
Go
Bill?
ahead, Bill.
Here's
Go
something
ahead.
I wanted to bring up that's kind of troubling to me. Not that I give any credibility or validity to the UN, but this is something that most people aren't necessarily aware of. And one of the ways that they're kind of like pulling on this this global direction that they are is that there have been reforms made that each state within their membership has one vote. You know, United States, we get one vote. Russia gets one vote. China gets one vote. And one of the things that was brought up was all of these different Islamic states that each have one vote. And there's so many of them, and they all get their vote, and that's how we see a lot of this guided direction being validated. But what about now with our republic, if we were to assume our position as independent states and have each of our states take a vote as well in something like that? You know, my personal opinion is to not be involved with them at all, but I'm just saying. Anyway, one of your people that you brought on the line is on the line.
Hey,
Go ahead.
you know what, brother? You made a valid point, and I was on. I think I said this earlier. I was on Terry Dodd's show last night with Red, and he brought up something that I had long forgotten. In 1917 and in 1991, Russia seceded from the EU, and the way they did it was exactly what you just spoke of.
Well, Russia wasn't
very,
part of the European Union.
They were in 1970. Let me read you what I went back and looked up because it was very interesting. I'm going to put it in as Russia secedes, and they have seceded twice, not once, but twice in history. Once in 1917.
You mean from the League of Nations?
Hold on a second. I'm going to read it to you. It said the EU.
They didn't have a European Union back then.
You got to hold on. In 1991, we did. Hold on a second. Let it open up because I want to read it to you as it is written.
Hey,
in the
Becky,
document.
just so you know,
I don't want to
whenever you or Bill talks, somebody is kind of like, somebody's in the background, kind of like making a noise, kind of like like mocking, kind of like doing a mocking noise.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
There's a female on the line. There's a female on the line doing that. So one of the lines that's open is.
There's not another line open. It's just us. So I have no idea.
Yeah, because when Bill was talking, she kept going. She kept mocking him.
Yeah, she kept going like, yeah. Like, sure.
Wow.
Right?
Well,
Is that what you heard, Bobby?
another line.
Absolutely, I heard it, and I heard you say something, Bill, and I figured that Becky heard it and that she would have put a mute to it, but then it just kept going on and on and on.
Yeah.
Russia dissolved overnight is what I pulled up. So let me just tell you what it says here, okay? Because this was pretty interesting to me, and they don't really in world history. They kind of went over the 1917. But obviously I was out of school in 1991, and I didn't pay much attention to politics at the time. What they exercised was very interesting. Let me just open it up here because, I mean, seriously, 1917 and in 1991, overnight, literally, Vladimir Putin's actions in Ukraine and accelerating the disappearance of Russia, not so much in the sense of pointing the change in the borders rather than blah, blah, blah. Let me go down to the part where it speaks about how they dissolved in literally overnight, because it was extremely interesting. And I want to ask you, Bill, because there's a specific question I want to ask you. What they used in order to dissolve, here you go, declared assembly to be by federal history. Okay, here it is. Background, origin, election results between the elections. Hold on. I know this is taking me a minute, but I have to go through a whole bunch of stuff to find what I'm referencing. Proportional representation system, multi-party elections via last election, meeting place. Okay. A constitutional body convened in Russia after the October Revolution of 1917. It's generally recognized as the first democratically elected legislative body of any kind in Russian history. It met for literally 13 hours, whereupon it was dissolved by all Russian Central Executive Committees. And then it says that they used the here it is. I want to find what it is because I think it's the equivalent of our Constitution. It is. Following the adoption of the 1936 Soviet Constitution, the organ was replaced with the Supreme Soviet of the Russian SFSR. So basically what they did is they took their original documentation, which is Alta something or other, and I'm trying to find it again because I closed that window out this morning, and I should have left it open because I wanted to call you anyway and ask you if you knew if that was the equivalent of our Constitution that they used in order to dissolve a corrupt government, because it did actually happen overnight. Do you know much about that? Because you're talking about votes. And
no, I don't. I don't know that there's another constitution like ours, period. But corruption's the same with every government.
Well, no, I mean, as far as for their nation, if you knew if they had something very similar to our Constitution, I'll be damned if I can find it. I'm looking for it. I'll make that a personal phone call to you once I find it again and get it to you. But the fact that they were able to dissolve a corrupt government literally overnight, to actually shut down and reconstruct the government and have an economic team in place for infrastructure issues was pretty historical. And no other nation, and there were 22 votes on that. There were 22 different nations, oddly enough, Ukraine being one of them, that opted for the secession back in 1991. It might be something in there for us to take heed to as far as what you were talking about earlier. How do we correct the situation that we're in? And I know that's kind of off topic from what we were just discussing, but you brought the votes up, and that kind of triggered that in my mind. So I definitely will find the particular terminology that was used. I just can't remember which window he sent me to last night to open it up.
Yeah, I'd have to read what you're talking about because it doesn't make sense to me. Look what happened after 1917 anyway. I mean, didn't they become more of the Marxist empire than they were previously? I don't see.
Well, no, they did, and then again, what happened was
it's just another coup d'état, wasn't it? I mean, kind of like what we're facing.
Yeah. Yeah, because the most external institution of the state actually, what was striking in 1917 and 1991 is the fact that it was an overnight turnaround, or considered a Russian state, if you will. And we did see an extreme level of poverty come out of the first secession, and we saw a lot of Marxism.
Well, the European Union is more of a banker's creation anyway, and I don't think that the European Union, that what it actually is today, well, it certainly wasn't around in 1917, but even in 1991, there wasn't a European Union. I know that these countries have cooperated during peace times as best, and especially since World War II, as best as possible, but the European Union is more of a banker's creation, isn't it?
Well, you would
and
think
it's more
so.
recent than that.
I have found it. Okay, here it is. Let me just read it to you. The dissolution of the Soviet Union was formally enacted on December the 26th in 1991 as a result of the Declaration No. 142H of the Supreme
we saw that.
Right.
We saw that start when the wall came down in the in the 80s. So I mean that's part of that whole thing that we witnessed.
So you got the Commonwealth of Independent States. Although 5 of the signatories ratified it much later or not at all, on the previous day, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev, the 8th and last leader of the Soviet Union, resigned, declared his office extinct, and handed over its powers, including control of the Soviet nuclear missile launching codes, to Russian President Boris Yeltsin. And that was at 7:32 p.m. The Soviet flag was lowered from the Kremlin at that time, and it was replaced with a pre-revolutionary Russian flag. Now, here's what they used. Alma-Ata Protocol, formally establishing the CIS and declaring that the Soviet Union had ceased to exist. Now, I looked up the Alma-Ata Protocol. And
the Soviet Union became Russia.
Yeah, it says the founding declarations and principles of the Commonwealth of Independent States, the leaders of Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus, and they agreed on December the 8th, 1991, to dissolve the Soviet Union. And it says that it was their, Jesus Christ, Alma Protocols are the founding declarations and principles of the Commonwealth of Independent States. Is that the equivalent of our Constitution for them? You know what I mean? Like, is that theirs, so to speak? The Alma Protocols? Founding declarations and principles of the Commonwealth of Independent States. Is that what I think it is?
Well, if they consider that their Constitution, I would think so, but it's the premise of a Constitution that I think gives it its platform. It gives it, I'm not going to say merit, but gives it its freedom or not.
Okay, there were 12 independent Soviet
Our
Union.
Constitution, for example, puts our government, our national government, which has become federal, which is feudal, is actually 2 levels below the people. These servants are supposed to serve the Constitution, which actually serves us.
Okay, so there were 11.
So I don't know how theirs is structured, but I suppose that they wrote something up that says, this is what we are going to exist and abide under or by. But I don't know enough about it further than that.
I'm going to send this to you. I'll go ahead and send this to you, this piece. And then
there was no European Union in those early days.
What?
I know that Russia, going back historically, has been Russia. It became a Soviet Union. It took over all of these other lands and made them states within the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union broke down and became Russia again, and a lot of these independent states decided at that point, well, we want to reestablish our own nationhood. And, we've seen things go back and forth and all around. But, we have our own problems here, really. We really, really do.
Well, yeah, I just wondered if, we were talking about the resolution here in our own country concerning the corruption and the things that have gone on. I didn't know if we could use that as like a format. You know what I mean? Like follow.
We already have a really straightforward format. It's just that we also face the greatest power and threat that the world has ever seen. At least it's commingled into that. So for us to resolve our matter, we have to do it once and for all and finally. We can't have any short measures, otherwise it's just a adjusted loss for us. It's a big deal what we face. And the thing is that because of what we face and the power that they're commingled into and the destructive force that they have their fingers all over, it has to be a final resolve for us. And the whole world's really looking at that, but
right.
The same danger lies in these people being, in front of our international relations with every other country too. And I'm not saying Putin's a nice guy, because I suppose, just like many of these other folks heading up all these other governments, that he's not. But we can't let the relationship between American people and Russian people be determined by certainly not the people pretending to represent us, nor should, hopefully, those people over there allow their guys, Putin included, or whomever, make that same kind of occasion upon their relationship with us and others. But, we have to fix it for ourselves and remove the problem we have here and reestablish that we are represented, not some thing. It's just bad news, and it's really dangerous right now.
We've got about 15 minutes before the show ends today, and I'm going to give everybody else an opportunity to speak. I think you'll probably get tired of listening to us. Bring your concerns and information to the table. This is a recap of what's going on throughout the week, and a lot of different subject matter. We're not scripted, so if it seems like we're jumping around, we probably are, just discussing things that come up in our heads and factual information. So I'm going to give out the number one more time. It's 929-477-3565. We definitely want to hear from you. If you have something to say, a question to ask the panel, we'll answer it to the best of our ability. If we don't know the answer, we'll go find the answer. Again, the number is 929-477-3565.
I got something I want to chime in about.
Okay.
If you go to the Rage Against the Regime podcast page or the Rage Against the Regime news page, I have a link to a gentleman that was, he was in the 7th Unit Special Forces. He is of course, he is a retired military member that has been getting VA checks for a long time. The VA checks have stopped coming. Him and his family are not able to eat right now. We actually put together a little package for him and sent him some food the other day. Wasn't very much, but it was, we did whatever we could at the time. Anybody, if you can, and you get a chance, maybe if you can go take a look at this guy's information and stuff. Him and his wife are very nice people. She runs some veteran pages. She helps out as much as she can. They call him Papa Bear. That's his name. That's what a lot of people call him, is Papa Bear. His wife is Cheryl. They're really nice people, but Karen Smith is the one that gave me their information. Karen Smith contacted me the other day and asked me if I knew anybody in Oregon, and I said, yes, let me make some phone calls. I reached out to a couple people and got people from ERT. They stepped up to the plate. And we had the ERT guys from Oregon go on out. They brought them food. They did a surveillance of the house. There's other things that need to be done. He needs they need a water tank. The water tank is about to go out. The hot water heater. They're living in a travel trailer, and, they have some other issues. The veteran can hardly get up and down the stairs. He's got, some issues, and he's on meds that are going to be running out pretty soon, and they're really, really in bad shape, but he's having a hard time getting up and down the stairs. I actually, have put out a distress call, asking for anybody that may be able to send them anything. We put their personal information on there. We put an address. If you can send anything to their house food-wise, if you have money that you can send to them, ERT is handling the funds, and I can put my name on it. They're not going to take the money and do anything else with it. If you send money to the PayPal account, just put a little note and say, that this is for, Papa Bear, or you can put it under his name, his real name. All the information is on both pages. And, we're trying to help this vet out. To my understanding, before we got them food the other day, they hadn't eaten in like 3 or 4 days. So,
hey, Bobby,
it's bad. I don't usually do this, okay? I usually don't do this for anybody, but this is a big time distress call, okay? So I don't, I'm not trying to do this and make this a weekly habit. I don't like asking for money. I never asked anybody for a dime to do this show, okay, or put out any of the shows that we do. Never have I asked anybody for anything, well, except for Casey Massey, his fund and stuff like that. But, other than that, we don't really ask for too much. But this is a vet who was Special Forces with the 7th Unit and stuff. And, if you guys get a chance, if you can do something, that's great. If you can't, we understand. But, that's about it. So,
Bobby, I'd like to add to that for people out there. Quick question: do we know why they cut this gentleman's check?
We actually have somebody that works for the VA looking into it right now.
Right.
Okay.
I heard there were volunteers helping.
Yeah, we have an ERT member that works for the VA. So
okay.
they're trying to find out whatever they can find out. But to my understanding, Karen Smith may know more about that. I never really got into that too much. I know that the question was raised. I don't know if it was ever answered, to be honest with you, because I wasn't part of the communication at that time. I had walked away from it and never really followed up after that. So it's probably bad on my part that I didn't. But, it is what it is. This is legitimate. We had ERT go out and check out the house to make sure that this wasn't, like a scam or anything, and it's nowhere near a scam. This is legit.
All right, brother, and I asked for a reason. If there's anything that we can do to help this gentleman in his battle to get his money to watch this, Bobby, Bobby, can you mute? Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby, can you mute your mic, man? That's loud as hell.
I was muted. I was muted.
I don't know what that noise was. If there's anything that we could do to help him in his battle to get his money, we certainly want to do that. And I know I have a lot of connections out there that may be able to assist in that area. That have connections in the VA. But I will say this, patrioticwarriors.com, we actually have a page on there that I can put up for him, and we'll be happy to do so in the fundraising community, as well as we have a capability to open an auction site. So for folks out there that don't have any money that they can contribute or labor or whatever it is that they can do for this family, if you have something that you just really don't want, you feel like it could be of value to someone else, we can certainly, you reach out to Bobby or I, and Bobby will get the information to me, and we can set up an auction on patrioticwarriors.com so that we can put some money into that account that way for the individual that whatever it is they want to auction off. So I just want to put that out there for the public. There's a lot of people out here hurting right now. There's a lot of people, Bobby. That gentleman is just one of the stories, the horror stories that we are faced with on a daily basis where veterans are being mistreated. I want to remind people that I'm the proud, I have ownership, I have a partner of a facility called Boss, which is 28 miles of beachfront property on Matagorda Island, Texas. And we hire only vets, and we give back to the veteran community. So this is something that's very dear and near to my heart, and I know certainly Bobby would not announce this if he did not believe that this was a truly an important cause for us to reach out to the public with. So, Bobby, thank you for doing what you're doing, brother.
Yep. It was important to me because a person like Karen Smith who's helped us get many, many people on this show. She's the one that helped us get Sunette. She helped us get other people. She's always helping promote the show, so on and so forth. And I know that she wasn't able to help because if she would have been able to help, she would have done it on her own, and she wouldn't have asked anybody for anything. That's the kind of person that Karen is. But at the time, you know, she told me she's going through something right now that, you know, she's been trying to help out as many people as she possibly can, and, you know, it just got to the point where she couldn't go any further. So,
hey, Bobby,
you know, I mean, yes.
Bobby, you know, Karen did a whole lot. By doing what she's done, she did, in fact, get the ball rolling. So I want to thank Karen Smith for that, and I'll call her and thank her for it personally as well. You know, Karen's going through a hard time. Karen came here. She immigrated here from South Africa, and she still has some family over there. She's got a brother and a mother, an elderly mom. They're landowners. They were attacked during this genocide that is on white South Africans over in Africa that is being not only promoted, condoned, and funded by the terrorist organizations, but the government over in Africa. Long story short, they came in to raid her family's property there, and they murdered her father. And the result of the attack, her brother received a wound to his leg, and they have since had to amputate his leg. All visa programs for any white South Africans have been denied by this government. They will bring the terrorists over from Nigeria and some of the other African nations over there and deposit them in America and unleash them on us, where a lot of these the ISIS warriors are coming from, in particular out of Minnesota. But they won't let white families come here from South Africa, which is a tragedy. So for Karen Smith, she's in her own battle and has her own worries, and God bless her for still being very patriotic. Although not born here, she is truly an American patriot, and hats off to Karen Smith, who works in so many areas for this community. So I just wanted to let you guys know who she is and what she's going through on her own. It's tragic.
Yep, no doubt at all. Yeah, she's going through a lot, and she's always, you know, anything that's going on, anything that we need to know about, you know, that she wants to give us the heads up. She's always tagging you and I and a couple other people, you know, on very important things that are going on, you know, and whenever there's somebody, you know, that would be a good person to be interviewed, you know, is out there, she will contact you or I and say, hey, I've got somebody, are you interested? You know, such and such person does this, that, whatever. And, you know, she's a good person all the way around. Her husband, I believe, is an oath keeper. I'm not sure. Maybe, is that what he is? I don't remember.
Yes,
Becky. I think he's an oath keeper.
He is an oath keeper, and he also has been impacted financially. I do believe he was working in the oil field, and a lot of our patriots that are out there, that do oil field work have lost their positions, and he has been one of those unfortunate. So financially, they struggle as well, absolutely. But he is a patriot, and I love him. Karen and her husband both are definitely an asset to the community. And if I can do anything for him, I certainly will. Go ahead, brother.
Okay.
Let's wrap the show up.
I was going to say another thing I want to cover. I've been contacted by the WIN Network. We finally made contact with one another. I have been in contact with Bobby and Keeper. They did go through Casey the other day. Then they contacted you. I was in contact with them yesterday. They want to add us on to the WIN Network. We actually have to do a little bit more talking with one another to try to figure out what's what. If it sounds like something of interest, something that might benefit us all, then I will do it and join on with them. They have, I don't know, they've got, I forget how many hours of shows they're doing a week. I think they're doing 50 hours a week of shows or something. And, I mean, they've got a lot of things going on. They're trying to move to a bigger network, the program that they have set up sounds like a winner to me. It's with a program director and, a real studio and the whole works. And I don't know. We'll see what happens, but, I mean, that's something to look forward to in the future, but that doesn't mean I can't talk about their network. Very good network. I've listened to a couple other shows, and I would say that, I would recommend them, if anybody wants to listen to something good. WINN Network. We're going to be having Rod Eccles. I don't know if any of you know who he is, but Rod Eccles will be joining us, I believe, next Friday. I think it's next Friday that Rod's joining us. But anybody that doesn't know Rod, look him up. He's kind of, he's quick-witted. He's an African-American gentleman that's quick-witted, and he's a patriot. He's a conservative, and he is, he's a pretty good speaker. So he's going to be joining us, I believe, next Friday. So.
All right, Bobby, I've got some breaking news as well. I've got the gentleman who wrote the article where he spoke of President Obama, executive order concerning Texas, in particular, separation of state, handing us over to Mexico, essentially. We have him coming on. We're locking him down on a date and a time. I've asked him if Wednesday next week is a good time for him. But he is a nationally acclaimed journalist. He has credentials to prove that he does his investigative work to back that up. So I want to get him on, find out what his source is, where he got his information on this supposed executive order, and he has agreed to be on the show. So that should be a very interesting podcast, in particular for the people in Texas. Bobby, we know that Kentucky is also being bombarded. The coal industry is being attacked there by the EPA with Obama and his BS that he blows up everybody's ass concerning the climate control and change that is affecting the globe, national security. That's what he's claiming. I mean, Jesus Christ, what a moron. Even the Muslims are cussing him on that one. Kentucky, we need to keep them in our prayers. A lot of people are about to lose their jobs there. They're trying to shut the coal mines down in Kentucky. So please, people, keep them in your prayers. If you're not a praying person, then I suggest those that are, start praying for this nation and to keep the patriots that are exposing the truth safe. Ask for a hedge of protection around us. God bless each and every one of you. Be safe. Patriotic Warriors will be youth streaming live from the event today in Arizona. So you folks be vigilant about going to Patriotic Warrior and looking that up. We'll flash mob that information out to everybody in about 45 minutes as soon as I get it.
I was going to say maybe if there's breaking news, maybe somebody can jump on Spreaker and, if something big happens. Yeah, if something happens big in Arizona, we'll maybe one of us will jump on Spreaker and try to get out the news the best we can. If you do not already follow us on Spreaker, please follow us. I mean, anywhere and everywhere that you listen to us, you should be following us, liking us, leaving feedback, comments, whatever. Please be active. I mean, when you're active, you're showing us that, that you like what you're hearing or whatever. I mean, if there's something, that you should be posting, post it. Let us know. I mean, we have 2 very active Facebook pages, one being Rage Against the Regime podcast, and then just the other one is just regular Rage Against the Regime. We've got Blog Talk, we've got iTunes, we've got a YouTube channel. We have, our emails. We've got it. I mean, we've got everything. So interact. And then Spreaker, we're getting a lot of listens there, but we could use more follows and more likes. and I wish you people would start leaving feedback on iTunes. People are downloading us on iTunes, but they're not leaving any feedback. If you leave feedback, it helps us grow. So just keep that in mind.
On iTunes or YouTube?
On iTunes. But both. I mean, YouTube, we're not getting that many listens. But I mean, once in a while, we'll get like 100 and some odd listens to, like a certain show. But on iTunes, we're getting downloaded, but nobody is leaving any feedback. Like one or two people said. One person said, "This is my favorite show of all shows." And then another one said, good, fresh, intelligent, something, I don't know, whatever they said. But, we've got like two people that left feedback, and that's about it. So, yay.
Awesome. All right, brother, wrap the show up. Let's get it going. I've got to jump on board with Patriotic Warriors, get this done.
Okay. I want to thank everybody that had a chance to join us today. I want to, most of all, thank General Paul Vallely. Did I say it right? Vallely. Why can I not ever say it right? Vallely.
Because you're thinking that you might not before you say it.
Yeah, okay, Vallely. So I want to thank General Vallely for joining us. I would like to thank Bill for joining us, Becky for, being on here running the board. I want to thank all of you for listening, none of you for calling in. Because we didn't get no calls. Well, we did get calls, but nobody got active on the phone. So, but no, seriously, without you, we are nothing. Like I say all the time, and, I want to learn something every show. I definitely learned something from the General today. I learned a lot, actually. And, thank you all so much for joining us. So that's about it.
Amen. Now, I just got word that the hub is up and working for the live stream. You can find it at Patriotic Hub. That's at Patriotic Hub. If you guys go there, you'll be able to catch the live stream out of Arizona. Bobby, I'll be picking it up on Twitter. And I've just sent Bobby Beatfinger from Wynn notification that we're going to be doing this, so hopefully they're going to pick us up as well and simulcast what's going on. And Rage and Patriotic Warrior will get the accolade on that. We appreciate everything that you folks did. Without you, we are nothing. God bless each and every one of you. Keep safe out there. For those in Texas, mind the high waters. Don't go out if you don't have to. We're expecting more rain this evening. God bless and good night.
Okay, and everybody be safe that's out there in Arizona.
Amen. Bill, thank you so much, brother. As usual, you bring so much to the table. I love and respect you, brother.
Thanks for putting up with me.
Hey, you and I can agree to disagree, man, and we're a great debate. I guarantee you people will come back and go, holy shit, did you see Becky and Bill go at each other? That was awesome.
I don't hold it against you when you burn my eggs.
You know you're going to kiss me. Don't even act like you're not going to, and I want tongue. I love you, brother. I'll talk to you. All right. Bye-bye, honey.
Thank you for listening to Rage Against the Regime Radio. Don't be a stranger. Please like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter at RATR Podcast. And feel free to leave some feedback whenever you listen to us. You can also email us at rageagainsttheregimepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to Rage Against the